Good afternoon. It's Friday, May 31. I'm Herman Green with your midday news. A special welcome if you're watching on onespotmedia.com. More expressions of hardships from former workers of Fly Jamaica this afternoon. The workers say they've been trying to survive until the company honors their outstanding monies. However, they are encountering roadblocks caused by the company. One worker explained that health insurance is one such challenge.
We had a health policy with the company, and apparently it wasn't being paid fully. So what could have happened did not happen, in the sense that if it was paid up to date, and even if we were let go from the company, the insurance company could let us continue with that health insurance on our own. But because it wasn't paid up to date, that has gone. So you don't have health insurance coverage from that angle.
In addition to outstanding salaries from November last year, the workers are also seeking payments from redundancy and other packages that are due to them. We tried to get an update from Fly Jamaica CEO's Captain Ronald Rees, but were told he could not comment as yet. Last week, Captain Rees told TVJ News that 2 investors are looking to invest in the company, but the former staff members are skeptical.
We have been hearing this from last year, because I heard what you heard, and it's been going around from last year. As the news said, over a year ago, we've been hearing that information. But there's no, I'm just like how you are telling me now, that's how we hear it. It's not from any official source. So we don't even know if it's true, and that is why we are here now.
All right, have staff members, yourself or anybody's been seeking employment elsewhere?
Oh yes, a lot. But there are some people who have reached the age now where nobody's going to employ them. So we need to get what was due to us from November, our pay from November, until when they sent a general letter saying, you are all made redundant. Not our positions, you are all made redundant from the 31st of March. And that is the end of it. We have heard nothing since.
4 students are among 5 people at hospital with bullet wounds after gunmen opened fire on a group of young men who were playing football on Bethel Street, Greenville in Manchester Thursday evening. One of the boys attends Mile Gully High School, while the other 2 are students of Cross Keys High. The Mile Gully High student is in grade 11 and is a member of the school's football team. He was shot multiple times and is in serious condition at hospital. It's reported that sometime after 5 on Thursday, the group was playing football on the Bethel Street community, when a car drove up and the occupants opened fire at them. The 5 who were shot include players as well as passers-by. The mother of the Mile Gully High student explains.
No, he wasn't playing football. He was going over the hill somewhere, and the bullet catch him up there. I didn't know. We catch him back way.
Principal of Mile Gully High School, Christopher Time, visited the student and gave us an update.
He's in good spirit. And he has given me some message to carry back to school, so I have to deliver those. As far as the doctors are concerned, all we could get is that he's in a stable position at this time. So we're very grateful for that. And we're very hopeful that he will recover fully.
Member of Parliament for Manchester North Western, Michael Phillips, says this shooting is alarming as the community has been relatively quiet for some time.
What is disappointing about this shooting is that the community of Greenville, who persons have branded as one of our volatile and troubled communities, we haven't had anything like this in the community for quite a few years.
The introduction of another gun amnesty in Jamaica is not likely to achieve much. That's according to a former member of the Police High Command, retired Assistant Commissioner of Police Keith Trinity Gardner. He questioned the effectiveness of gun amnesties based on past experiences. He says criminals are not willing to part with their firearms. A reaction was sought from the retired ACP following the disclosure from the Prime Minister that the government is considering a gun amnesty as part of measures to curb crime.
we have had more than one amnesty since 1972. And the only persons who have submitted the guns are those persons who are not involved in criminal activities. Persons who might have had illegal guns to secure their persons or their properties. So, I defer to Justice Wolf in a case that I had in front of the gun court where Justice Wolf said Jamaica is a society where men treasure their masculinity. And the only thing that they like more than that is their guns, and they will not give up their guns for anything. Criminal elements will not give up their guns. If you're targeting illegal guns, don't talk about an amnesty that is going to deal effectively with the proliferation of illegal guns, because they are not going to give it up.
While addressing the Police Federation's 76th annual conference on Wednesday, the Prime Minister asked for input from members of the Jamaica Constabulary Force on how the gun amnesty can be implemented. A gun amnesty refers to the voluntary surrender of illegal firearms and ammunition by citizens. The Prime Minister said the police must find ways to encourage citizens to disclose the location of illegal weapons, but noted that persons must be safe when providing such sensitive information. The Jamaica Police Federation has a new chairman. Former General Secretary Sergeant Patre Rowe was elected yesterday at the Police Federation's 76th annual conference. Woman Constable Tamika Thomas is the new General Secretary. Former Chairman Corporal Arlene McBean, who in March was reinstated in the position of chairman following the order by the Supreme Court, remains a member of the executive. Continuing the news. With the persistent drought conditions affecting sections of the island, a warning from the government this afternoon for citizens to prepare for the worst. This, as it says, the impacts of climate change on a local and regional scale are slated to worsen in the coming years. TVJ Shane Masters tells us more.
It's no longer imminent, it's here. That's the word from Minister without portfolio in the Economic Growth and Job Creation Ministry, Darrell Vaz, with reference to the impacts of climate change. He noted that due to the effects of this phenomenon, the rains, which used to be almost an everyday situation in Portland and St. Mary, have decreased significantly. Mr. Vaz says this is now a major issue, as those parishes were the ones which supply the corporate area with water through the Alice River.
What is happening now is that we're getting the rain in the northeastern parishes, which really have no distribution network. So basically that rainwater, for all intents and purposes, we don't maximize on it.
Mr. Vaz noted that from various studies conducted, there will be a constant decline in rainfall by the end of the century.
And several studies have indicated that the frequency of storms may decrease. However, the intensity of these hurricanes will increase with a doubling of the frequency of Category 4 and Category 5 storms. Those of you who are old enough to remember, just think of Hurricane Gilbert.
He also noted that there are other significant impacts that will affect the region due to climate change. This includes a rise in poverty, poor health, and energy security.
These are the issues that we must highlight, as they not only affect the efforts of the government to place the country firmly on a track to sustainable development, but they also affect the well-being as well as the quality of life and livelihood of each and every Jamaican.
It's why he says the government is seeking to update its climate change resilience policy framework. O'Shane Masters, TVJ News.
In the wake of recent fires at the retirement dump in St. James, there has been growing pressure on the government to upgrade and improve the facility. The pressure grew even more when Councillor for the Granville Division, Michael Troop, stated that he wanted legal action to be taken against the state on behalf of the residents affected by smoke from dump fires. Speaking with TVJ News yesterday, Executive Director of the National Solid Waste Management Authority, NSWMA, Audley Gordon, commented on the matter.
The residents' demands are more than reasonable, and that's why the minister himself in Parliament, in his budget presentation, did apologize for the disturbance to the environment and the grief that it would have caused people. What reaction could I have against people who want to pursue any of those windows that are available to them. That's not really mine to say. I have to try and do a good job so that less residents will have need because of my organization to pursue those different opportunities.
Since then, residents have reported improvements in the air quality. Mr. Gordon also added that the cause of the fire is still inconclusive. In the meantime, Mr. Gordon commented on conversations regarding the removal of the dump from its present location.
The conversation will have to continue, but I can't say specifically now, remove the dump. Because remove it to where? Some of these things are easily said. But when you get to the execution stage, you realize that it's not so simple. Because first you would have to identify the land, then you would have to get all the agencies to agree, then you would have to get the residents who live within a certain mileage around to agree, then you have to go through all sorts of things. And the truth is, as we speak, we don't have any of that even in the embryonic stages as yet.
He says going forward, operational plans will be put in place to maintain proper waste management. NWC President Mark Barnett says over $200 million have been lost by the National Water Commission, NWC, due to major roadworks in the corporate area. The NWC indicated several weeks ago that it was seeking compensation from the National Works Agency, NWA, for losses it suffered because of damage to its infrastructure. Mr. Barnett states that the issue is not yet in court, but the losses have been quantified, and the China Harbor Engineering Company, CHEC, has now become part of the proceedings.
It's not a suit, it's a claim. We haven't filed a suit yet. You file a claim on the contract procedure, and then if there's nothing, then you will then make file a suit thereafter. So our initial submission was to NWA because NWA was the major liaison. And so we have been directed that needs to go directly to CHEC, and that's what we're doing now. So the quantum of funds that we're looking for is just about $250 million based on all the damages that we would have suffered on our network. And that is not the final sum, by the way.
He explained that the amount being claimed is expected to increase.
Subsequent to us tabulating that sum, there have been other additional activities which would have disrupted service, whereas it will likely to increase probably by another $50 million.
We go now to news in sports. Led by top performances from Jamaicans O'Shane Thomas and Chris Gayle, the West Indies opened their ICC World Cup campaign with a comfortable 7-wicket win over Pakistan today at Nottingham. Batting first, Pakistan were all out for just 105 in 21.4 overs, with man of the match Thomas picking up 4 for 27 in his tournament debut. Here are the highlights.
Finger goes up. Got him. He is sharper than you think, Andre Russell.
Whoa, look at that ball. Has he done it again? He has.
It's edged, it's flown. Well, the catches in this World Cup just goes short. It's in the air. Chris Gayle.
That is the end of that. Too much room given by the West Indies, and Pakistan all out for 105.
That's gone. Will do the distance. Smacked it. Absolutely nailed it this time. Hafiz, can he get there? Can he catch this? It's taken.
That's a brilliant stroke. Brilliant stroke. Chris Gayle, he's dominated proceedings. He's gone to 50. He's played really well.
Top edge with a fielder underneath.
Got a wicket, he has. He deserves it. He's got a third. And that's a good thump down the ground. What about that?
That will be the end of the game. A resounding blow by a hugely talented Nicholas Pooran, and a wonderful victory for the West Indies in their opening encounter of this 2019 ICC Men's Cricket World Cup. They win by 7 wickets here at Trent Bridge.
And still on cricket, former batsman and Weeper President Wavell Hines has moved to allay fears about a possible contractual dispute within the West Indies camp. There have been reports this week from some contracted players, or rather off-contracted players, having issue with non-contracted players earning twice as much in match fees. However, according to Hines, all is well.
Yeah, we want to make sure that the players are as comfortable as possible. So all those questions that were asked were answered, and all is well going forward. MOU, the current MOU runs out on the 30th of June, and the new one kicks in on the 1st of July. And final arrangements are in place to have a final meeting in about 2 weeks' time in Antigua to close it out. But for all the matters that have concern in the World Cup, those have been settled. There were some concerns by retained players who are players that we have put together, and the questions were answered in the most bold manner, and everybody's pretty much on board. All signatures have been had, and we are moving forward. So everything is settled.
And that wraps up the Midday News. I'm Herman Green. Remember, primetime news is at 7. On behalf of the News Sports and Production teams, good afternoon.